And welcome everyone to Live Radical Republicans live show. I am your host, Jerome Bell, and tonight we have a very, very special guest tonight. And I hope y'all had a great week. You know how we all start the show. We have to start the show with my sponsors first. And we're getting started here. So I see you guys over in the GETTR chat getting in there, coming in, and on the Rumble chat studio. So we're going to bring it up. But we I'm not going to give the surprise away just yet of who the surprise is right now. But I'm just looking at the because Rumble, we're having some difficulties. We'll see who come in. All right, because I see some people on YouTube over on GETTR, and we'll just see what's happening here in a little bit. All right, so with the new studio and everything, because I told you I switched from StreamYard, because StreamYard probably was a little better. I don't know. But it was very, very expensive. Hello, Carolyn. I see you. Good. I know things are working good when I see Carolyn say, "Good evening, y'all." I know it. I know it's working well. So, and over on the GETTR chat, K9 Girl, I see you. Hello, 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 hello. So just go ahead and spread out the show. If you're on Rumble, if you're on GETTR, go ahead and share it out, like it, and share and share. So we're definitely going to do Supermassive Black Coffee tonight again because they're my top sponsor. And hopefully I'll get enough people. We can read some campaigns from Rumble. But are you tired of the same old corporate coffee, diluted and devoid of character? It's time to break free from the chains of mediocrity with Supermassive Black Coffee, crafted from 100% organic beans. This coffee is fire roasted in a Victorian era roaster, a relic from an age when true craftsmanship thrived. This unique process allows the flames to caress each bean, unlocking bold, rich flavors with dark chocolate undertones and a smooth, smoky finish. In a time of soaring coffee prices and supply chain disruptions, Supermassive Black Coffee stands as a beacon of quality and resilience. While others compromise, this brand remains steadfast, delivering a brew that defies convention and invites coffee lovers to explore the depths of flavor and mystique. Join the rebellion against the mundane. Visit supermassiveblackcoffee.com, supermassiveblackcoffee.com. Use code MAMBA, M-A-M-B-A, for 20% off your order. Embrace the conspiracy. Sip the mystery. All right, so what we got tonight? So my guest, I mean, it's. I think we're gonna have a little deeply personal conversation. I hope. She's ready for the conversation. I watch her show on her podcast. It's called Puzzle Pieces Together on Rumble. Miss Laura Worley, and she's identified as a MK Ultra survivor. You know how we all talk about the MK Ultra on this show? We speak about that and just everything on this show. So tonight, I'm going to bring you a survivor of MK Ultra, and she's going to share some things with us. Hopefully, as much as she can. Anyway, we're going to find out here in a moment. I'm going to bring her to the stage, and hopefully, this works. I had some issues before. There you are. Hey, Laura, how are you? Unmute because I put you on mute. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having me on. Forgive my voice, I'm getting a cold, so anyway, I'm so sorry about that.
Well, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, and some quercetin to take care of that. Knock it out. Knock it all
That
out.
sounds
Thank
good.
you. No, thank you for coming on the Radical Republicans live show. We are excited to have you. With everything that's going on, before we get into the MK Ultra thing, right? Because I think a lot of these shootings, the school shootings, maybe, what's going on with Charlie Kirk, I don't know. It's just all this mystique and stuff, right? So I always say, you know what? This is MK Ultra. These shooters, I believe, are MK Ultra. Some kind of, mind controlled, whether it's drugs, whether I don't know. I mean, but it seems to be the same type people. You got the trans thing going on right now. We just had another shooting up in Michigan, another leftist Democrat. I mean, he had stopped Trump on his on his front door or something like that. I was just reading that, and unfortunately, 3 people died. The church ran through. So I don't know if are these people just mentally ill, or I'll ask you what you believe. But before you do that, go ahead and introduce yourself to
Okay.
everyone, to my audience, because I always let my guests introduce themselves because you can introduce yourself better than me, And so go ahead and introduce yourself, Laura.
Okay, well, my name is Laura Worley, and I've been on a very long journey of trying to overcome, and did with MKUltra, but it took many years. And so I became a practitioner helping people with complex trauma. And then the last 6 years, I've worked with about 100 survivors, helping them that are, MKUltra as well. And so that's what I do. I'm a speaker. I've written 3 books, and I help survivors now, and I do trainings for professionals because so many people do not know how to help a survivor. And then, unfortunately, a lot of professionals don't even want to help a survivor. So that's what I do. I feel like I worked my butt off to figure out how to help myself, because when I started remembering this stuff, it was in the 90s, and people did not want to hear it. They did not want to, they said, this isn't real. You're crazy. This doesn't happen. And so I literally had 0 people help me. They didn't know how to help me, and they would continuously tell me they didn't know how to help me. And so basically, after many types of therapy, trying to go through all that, I realized it's not working worth a damn. And so I decided to go the holistic route, and found all these holistic modalities that just really started helping me. It's a long story, but um, I was
And we
able to
have time.
figure.
That's what we do here. We don't bring you on for a 10, 15-minute segment unless you want a 10 or 15-minute segment. You can stay as long as you want, share your story, and talk as long as you want. We got a full 2 hours if you want to stay for the full 2 hours. So you can take your time and share whatever you wish to share. How about that?
Well, to answer your question, yes, the shooters are MKUltra, because that was part of the update that took place in 2015 with all the survivors, because they thought Hillary Clinton was going to be the president. And so they took everybody back and updated them with a plan for the New World Order. And so part of that plan was to have mass shooters, and they were all updated. So everybody you see shooting, they're MKUltra. And the other thing I wanted to share is Clinton a couple days ago just said, she's talking badly about white Christian men. And then today there's a
Mhm.
shooting at a church, where white Christian men would be. I mean, there's,
Right. Yeah, it
all,
was LDS Church, yeah, in Michigan, yeah.
yeah. And we don't
For
even know how many people are dead yet, because
Well,
they
they
only
say
know.
three. The latest when I was coming on, it said 3 dead, including the gunman. Of course, they always get the gunman. It's up in
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk, but that guy wasn't the shooter. So anyway, we'll get more. I think we'll get into that a little more. But let me ask you this first:
Okay.
How how did you first come to realize that you were affected by MK Ultra related activities or MK Ultra? How would anyone know if they are? Do you get like abducted, like to a spaceship? You know what I mean? Or
No.
something like that, or what happens? And how did you know?
Well, I started to remember. So basically, I started therapy in 1989 because I thought I had a sugar addiction, and the person started, the therapist, which is really unusual in 1989. She said, "I want you to start writing." And what happened is I started remembering all the sexual abuse from a lot of my family members, and it took about 4 more years for me to start remembering cult abuse, satanic cult abuse. So every MKUltra survivor is also a satanic ritual abuse survivor. And so my family had been a part of it for many generations. And I started remembering, but it didn't all come at once. Like the things about Hillary Clinton, and because I was a slave to her, and a lot of the politicians, like a lot of the politicians you see right now, I've seen them do terrible, horrible things. So I was sold into the MK Ultra program by my grandfather. Um, and the best I can figure out is because he was friends with Truman. So, anyway, I think my mom was in it, and me, because it started in 1953. And so, that's about as far as back, at least for the MK Ultra. But as far as the satanic ritual abuse, I think it was 8 generations. And so it just started, I just started remembering it and remembering it and remembering more and more and more and more. And I did all this writing is really how I started remembering it. Because writing kind of your subconscious is helping you to kind of see what it holds, because your subconscious mind holds everything. And so that's the, you've got to get into the subconscious mind if you want to know what, like, if you're a survivor or not, what happened. And writing is a simple way to start at least the process. So that's how I found out. But it took years. Like, I didn't just remember everything all at once. So I've been,
So specific events or treatments, because they had the I guess the MKUltra thing up in Canada. There was one. Do you remember being at a facility? Do you remember locations that you may have been at, or specific things that you might remember?
yeah, I've been at a lot of military bases. That's where they did most of the mind control programming, is under the base, because they can have any kind of machine they need. They can do whatever torture they want. They also do satanic rituals under the military bases. So the end is list. Well, I was born in Missouri, so I unfortunately, I don't know how I got into this position, but this is what happened. When I was a child, I was very young, and whatever test, they always test the person, the kid, how what they can accomplish for them, really, or what they can do. And they gave me a job, even though I've had many, and every survivor is experimented on many, many, many times. But what happened is they wanted me to be a messenger, and a messenger is someone who is going to have a photographic memory, and our side of the government would give me a message, and then I would go give it either to the president or the foreign dignitaries, whatever government they wanted me to share the message. And then they would give me the message, and then I would take it back to our government. And so that's how they were passing a lot of secret messages, is literally through children. Because I was, well, it was for quite a while, but it started about 7 or 8 that they
Wow.
literally
So
had me do.
at 7 or 8 years old, and they had
Mhm.
your mind to where you can remember a message, and because of course they wouldn't write it down. So you're like a homing pigeon. They send you off with a
Yeah,
message and come back with the message.
right. And unfortunately, most of the men that received the message, they were into children. And so I'm not sure that isn't why part of the messenger wasn't a kid. But believe it or not, the only one that I remember that didn't enjoy doing anything, because to get the message, you had to do something sexual to the child. And so when they did something
So this
sexual,
is why the blackmail. This is why the blackmail. And this is why it seems like that all of these people, all of them are pedophiles. Every last one of
yeah,
them.
well, most of the ones I met, they wanted sexual things, but the one who didn't seem to like it at all was President Nixon. So he
And
just
this
had
is
to
why they
do
got
it.
rid of Nixon. I mean, because this were because Nixon wouldn't play the game. From what I've researched since I've been doing all of this stuff, I've been doing the show, I've been doing a lot more research, and this is why they basically got rid of Nixon, because Nixon didn't want to play that game.
Yeah, and Ford, he was a creep, like a big creep, and he did horrible things. He was very, very mean. So, and then his Kissinger was the handler, so to speak, who would take me
Right.
in between who I had to meet. And then at one point in my life, my mom and myself were a parent team, and we went to a different country, and it was under a basically a family vacation. And then that happened to one time with my dad and my mom and my brother and me, and we were sent to Europe. We were under family vacation, and that's the only time I remember anything with Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, what happened there. So but I think that was the only time, but
You're the.
they,
Uh, do you have a good security team? And the reason I ask that, because you're dropping a lot of names, and I mean, normally people don't drop names. You're dropping names. People say, well, if this or or something's gonna come out, or this list. Of course, they never released the list, but here you are on the Radical Republicans live show dropping names, big
yes, I
names.
am. and I'm doing it intentionally because I've waited until this time to do it. I started speaking publicly like 21, but the reason why is they killed my husband, so I have nothing to lose. So they did the wrong thing to the wrong person, and so I'm going to name a lot of names that I know.
I
And
mean, you already said Hillary Clinton. I heard you say that you were a slave to Hillary Clinton or something like
yes,
that.
I was given as a sex slave as a teenager to Hillary Clinton. Um, with Hillary Clinton, you don't see them that much, but they don't like you when you're older. They just like usually as a kid or teenager. So, but anyway, it's a long ceremony they go through of giving me to her as an eternal slave, which is insane. But anyway, um, I know most people don't talk about that kind of thing, but um, this is what satanic rituals are. You know, these people that run our government worship Satan and they worship the pagan god and goddesses of, you know, the ancient worlds that we all thought was so cute in all the movies, like Thor or Odin. Um, you know, which they've been talking about Valhalla. That's um, a heaven that is for warriors, but it's Odin's
Right,
heaven, and Odin is a
right.
demon.
It's a demon,
So
right?
they worship the demons and they want the power from them.
You know, I researched that when I heard Cash Patel say it about Charlie Kirk. I'll see you in Valhalla. And I'm like, what
Yeah,
the hell is Valhalla, right? And I said,
I
okay,
know.
because I'm a researcher now. And I went and I looked it up. Okay, yeah, it's this pagan place of Odin and where the warriors go and live when they die or whatever, this mystical place. Why and I'm saying, why would he say that? Why would he, even use those terms or say this Valhalla if this place wasn't real, basically? I mean, like it's a vacation spot or something. Like, he didn't say, "I'll see you in heaven." He said, "I'll see
I
you in
know.
Valhalla."
That's what's
You
scary
noticed that,
because
right?
I didn't think I thought Cash Patel was on the good team, but when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh. So I
I
don't
mean, well, I
know.
knew Cash was bought and paid for once they never released the Epstein list, and we'll probably we'll get into that. You may know a bunch about that, but go ahead and go back to the Queen Elizabeth thing that you were just going to talk about.
What the memories that I have, we were taken somewhere way out in the middle of nowhere, and then some underground tunnel for a very long time, and then where we ended up was being, at least what I remember anyway. Um, it would be like an open arena, but it was underground. And there was a lot of politicians and a lot of people, but I didn't know who anybody was then. And they did a lot of sexual stuff to my whole family. So, see, once you become an MK Ultra survivor or MK Ultra person, they don't ever let your family, like everybody has to be in it, is what I'm trying to say. They don't just pick a few kids. It's the parents, the kids are always going to be in it because they can't allow anybody to have their free will or to remember what they're doing. So that's how it works.
So, were there any, like, because you say the family thing, were there any like particular drugs or procedures or anything like that that you can describe? How long did these experiments last from what you can recall?
Well,
Or
they, oh,
because
I
that had to
remember a
be
lot of
pretty
things.
pretty
So,
difficult, right?
what?
Okay, so hey, it's your floor. Go ahead, tell us what you remember. And a
Well,
lot of people may not believe. Do you get this? A lot of people don't believe you,
oh, I'm so used to that from the 90s. But
right?
2020 to 2025, I really have felt very hopeful because people are talking about it. And it's really made it safer for more survivors to come out and talk about it. But we have
And we
millions of
haven't spoken
people.
before this, right? I want people to know, and I do this with all of my guests because my show is always unscripted, unedited, it's uncensored, unfiltered, and unapologetic, right? So, and I do that for a reason, and to put it out there, you and I have never talked before
Nope.
this. I
Nope.
invited you on the show. You accepted. Last week when you had some family issues, and I hope that straightened out. And now you're on the show. But we have never spoken before this. And for you to mention Valhalla, right? And then the Cash Patel thing. I mean, I mean, I mean, coincidences are never. There's no such thing as
I
coincidence.
know.
But I just want everyone to know that we have never spoke before. So if
Right.
something comes up like that again, it was not coordinated, it's not scripted, and everybody that watches my show know that this show is not scripted at all. So go ahead, continue.
Well, what would you like me to continue on? Like my I have a ton
I
of
want you to tell the
memories.
whole story. I want you to tell the whole story. Let's start with some of your youngest memories, and come forward. If you can talk about if they had you under any drugs. I know there were rituals. There were these different experiments. If you can tell us any of those or explain any of those, and you keep dropping names. I love names. I love names.
All right. Well,
If you feel comfortable, to the extent that you feel comfortable.
so the thing that most people don't realize is that there's about, if you would say 7 to 10% of MK Ultra survivors around the world. And the thing that most people don't understand is that we're all programmed the same with a template. And it's based on a spiritual template it's based off an inverted tree of life. It's called the tree of death. So when they start to do the programming, the true programming is a spiritual programming because they worship Lucifer. And then they put all the other stuff on top of it, like you will probably hear Disney or that kind of thing. Every single survivor starts their programming in the womb. And by the time they're about 16, 17, they've already completed their training. And even as a child, they are taught to be a soldier. So it's called the New World Order soldier. And so every single one of us was trained to be a soldier for the cabal for this moment in time. So there's millions of people around the world that have been trained and have been a sleeper, so to speak. But if you, right now is the time they're starting to activate people. And that's what I've been trying to tell people since 21, is that this day was coming because of what happened with being taken back and stuff. So
Being
that is just
taken
going to,
back. Being taken back. I mean, I just jump in, and I know I'm probably cutting you off, and probably should just shut up and let you talk. But you talk about taken back, and then you say from the womb. So
yeah, the programming starts in the womb. So if you're an MK Ultra, you started being programmed in the womb because what they do is right off the bat they split your mind so they can control half of your mind. So there's like a core self, and then there's this half of self that they are going to try and control. Because see, every survivor is tortured, raped many times. They're experimented on all the time, and at each age they have to have a specific training, a specific programming put inside of them. They have to complete, it's like going to high school, they have to complete it by 17. Then they have 2 years of college training, that all the programming they want in a MK Ultra person has to be done. And that person has to survive. And to survive, you've got one choice and one choice only. If you can't split your mind, which means when they torture you with drugs and electricity and all that, then what they do is you will die from what they're doing. But if you can split your mind, which means the brain just takes a compartment and it says, okay, I'm going to hold this, trauma here, and I'm going to create a personality to do the sexual things they're telling me to do, or to go give a message to somebody. So that alter personality only knows how to do that specific thing, and they'd never ever meet. So the core self can go out and live, and nobody suspects that they have all this stuff going on. They're just living their normal life. You probably have friends that are MK Ultra and you don't even know it. Because if 7 to 10% of the world is MK Ultra, there's a lot of people that don't know they are survivors. And that's what I'm trying to do, is wake up the world, because we have so many that are not awake, and they can be used if they don't understand what's happened to them. And this is the time that the cabal is using the MK Ultra survivors more than any time in history, especially in the last 2 years. So this has been happening, and this is their time. They have nothing to lose, and they're going to try to take down the world and create their new world order. And the army they have is MK Ultra survivors and other things they've done, but they have millions. Just to let you know, it's not like a few hundred or a few thousand.
so it's more Jason Bournes out there. I know
There
that's a
are,
movie, but
yeah.
there are these assassins, out there that does these things too. I'm sure, you know,
Mhm.
um,
The
but
difference with the
like,
Jason Bourne though is he was awake, he was doing it, but the assassins of MK Ultra are in an altered state, So they're in an altar, an assassin
Just like a
personality.
blackout. They don't even know they're doing it. And
They
when they
don't know they're
do it,
doing it.
and when they
No,
do it, they don't know what they've done after
no,
they wake up out of it. Almost
exactly.
like the blackout, basically. When people sleepwalk or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
It's exactly that. And that's the purpose of the cabal. They don't want you to remember. And I'll tell you a sad thing that does happen to a lot of people. So if you're a survivor, let's say you're going in life, you have a family and you're active in the community, you're doing, what people do. You have a job, you have a good job, whatever you have. And so you go do your job, you get your family ready for bed, you cook dinner, you've done everything like a wife might do or a husband, and you go to bed, and then you have orders to meet at 2 or 3 a.m. in the military base. So you'll go to bed and then you get up and you go to it. And that's the altar, the personality taking you to the military base to do whatever they want. And then you come back home, go back in bed, and and you don't have a clue that you've been gone all night.
So does your husband or family members say, wake up? Because I'm a pretty light sleeper. So if my wife ever got out of the bed, I'm waking up, and if she's like, I'm like, where the hell are you about to go? Like,
Well, you have
hold
to
on, where you
understand the
going?
whole
It's 2 o'clock.
family's under MK
Where you
Ultra,
going?
though.
I mean, but you say everyone's under the spell or under it.
Yeah,
So it's like, okay, I
under
know
some
she's
kind of mind control.
I mean, so is it that they are activated, I guess, at the same time or different? Because still, if the alter her got up and left, and the alter me ain't activated, and I'm like, where you going? And I'm gonna try to stop her, like, So is it like something to where, I get turned on at the same time, so I know that, okay, I'm in a deep sleep and I don't know she's gone. So when she comes back, I don't know. You know what I mean? Does that
It's
make
like
sense?
you're going to be two things. You're either going to be told in a programmed state to not pay attention, not remember that anybody in your family's leaving, uh, or they've done whatever they've done, or even you. But that's why I said the whole family has to be under their control, or they couldn't pull this off because of the exact reason you said. If you were married to someone who was an MKUltra survivor and you had nothing to do with that, and you knew nothing about it, yeah, you're gonna figure it out because you're gonna know there's something's wrong. So unfortunately, my husband didn't grow up in this stuff, but what they were able to do, because something happened to him at 3 at a hospital, they were able to find this little portal, so to speak, inside of him, and they were able to put him under mind control. He didn't have years of MKUltra like I did, but they were still able to put him under their control. So we were married for almost 40 years, and we went through a lot, but we also accomplished a lot and started helping training people, professionals and survivors, of what's actually done to a survivor and how to overcome it. But like I said, many things took place, but they did kill him, and he is so anyway, I'm not gonna be keeping my mouth shut.
Well, so how so how I mean, if you don't mind me asking you, if you want to talk about it, how did that take place? And do you know who you say they? Do you know who they are?
Yes, they are basically the cult. We'll just say the cult. So, what is, I don't know how to get into all this. It's a very long story, but basically, I wrote 3 books. The second
Hmm.
book, after I published it in 23, we started having non-stop spiritual attacks for 18 months before, and they were doing satanic rituals against us to kill Steve and I. They were just spiritually attacking us in every direction. And then at the end, something they pull what they do is they want to discredit you. They'll turn people against you, they will go after your money, they'll do whatever they have to. But anyway, they were able to manipulate a situation that happened after almost 18 months of every day being attacked spiritually. And it really just, I think, kind of took down my husband at that point. And one of their curses that they were always cursing, is that he would get a tumor and cancer.
Hmm.
And he did, but it was something that was just supposed to go in, he get out, and goes back to work in a week. And what I witnessed is what they can do to you in a hospital. Because this doctor, I know that he was a cult doctor, because every decision he made to my husband was to kill him. And that was the final blow. And so if you have no idea, which I didn't either, what they can do in the hospital. They can cover their asses so well if they want to kill somebody. And there's nothing you can do about it because they protect each other so well. And
Well,
I
we found
just,
that out during the COVID, and people going to, the hospitals and being killed by the remdesivir and these other drugs
they
in
can
there.
do
Like,
so many things to you. And I'm not going to get into
that's why I'm
too
scared of
deep.
hospitals. I don't even
Don't
like
go
to
into
go
the
to
hospital if you don't
doctors.
have to,
You know,
because
I got to be honest. I don't take any medication. I don't take over the counter stuff. I don't take any of that stuff. I might go to the doctor once a year, but I don't take any vaccines, any jabs, none of that stuff. And I'm like, I don't even want to ever go into a hospital. you know, to be
do
honest.
not. I mean, the nurse there said, because we had 3 different stays each a week, and she said, "Oh, the hospital's just a legal place to torture you." And I thought she was kidding, so I started laughing. But when I looked at her face, she was as serious could be. She was saying that about what happens in the hospital. And what I witnessed is, if you get cancer or anybody you know has cancer, never, ever,
Mhm.
ever get a biopsy, because it spreads it. And then, anyway, he did. I'm not going to get into the whole story, but the ending result was, because of this doctor, he had a thumb-sized tumor right here, and because of what the doctor did, it grew to here. And then the doctor took it out and said he was okay. 2 weeks later, we're in the hospital, and my husband, uh, we find out the doctor knew the whole damn time, and we found out that this little thing grew into 5 more tumors in his mouth and 2 in his lungs because of the
Oh,
biopsy.
geez.
And you know what that doctor did? He said he knew what he was doing. He ordered 5 more biopsies, 5, and my husband was dead a week and a half later. That's
Wow.
what they can do. And you know what? Nobody's going after him. Nobody's going to do anything to him. So anyway, I even had somebody, I'm pretty sure he's a doctor. I tried to say this stuff on X, and he's like, "Oh, a biopsy's not terrible." It's like, yeah, it is. I watched it.
That was your experience, yeah, definitely. I mean, and cancer, because I know my dad, he died of cancer. He wasn't a MK Ultra guy or anything like that. But I do know, for after they did the biopsy on his lungs, he did not survive much longer after that. I do know that. Now, how has this whole thing, shaped your, like, health, problems or issues, any memory problems, or the way that you communicate, or your relationships with people, daily life, type stuff.
No, I mean, my husband died in December. It's taken me a long time to get over it, but I moved to an area where the ocean's here, and so I get a lot of really healing from the ocean, and a determination that we started this project together, book 3. And so, sorry, I don't want to cry, but it took
It's okay.
everything
Take
I
your time.
had to get it published a few weeks ago, because I know the Lord and Jesus and my husband wanted me to finish this project no matter what. And it is stuff that is not published, in a lot of stuff that's just not published. And my husband gave his life for it. And so I'm never shutting up. So that's the way it is.
So
My
what's the name of
husband
your
is with
book?
me though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, he's with you. What's the name of your book?
Well, all my books are titled Puzzle Pieces
Okay, and
Together,
that's the
but
name of your podcast as well.
yeah, and the third one's Puzzle Pieces Together, Hidden Knowledge, but it's part 3. So when you read them, you kind of need to read them in
You have the
order.
needle in order.
But 2 and 3 are more so. 3 has a lot of information if you want to know about the highest groomed survivor in the Illuminati. And so that's what I wrote about, because I started seeing, as a coach, women who came in and wanted help to get free, that are called mothers of darkness. And there's a male version of that, a father of darkness. And then the druids, there was a lot of information about that. But and then the rest of the book is really to professionals and survivors of how to get free. That's what book and 2 and 3 are. But they have a lot of information I think every adult should know anyway.
Mhm. You know, I saw one of your podcasts not too long ago. Well, maybe it was a podcast from maybe a year ago, or maybe not even a year. I forget the
Yeah, I
date.
haven't done them
But
since my husband died. Sorry about that, but I'll try to get
yeah,
back
yeah,
to it.
okay. So it had to be about a year ago, and I
Yeah,
saw this podcast, and you were talking about they were. I mean, I think it was at that time you mentioned it. They were calling everyone back, and you were telling people to get in contact with you, how to fight against this. You know, you have to fight, and you have to pray, and all these things that they need to do to keep from being recalled or called back because they were calling everybody back. And this was about a year ago, I think.
yeah, yep. And now, yeah, I mean, we're seeing it because they are doing the mass shootings. I don't think they're going to stop in any way. I think it's going to
I
keep
mean, well,
getting
they seem
worse.
to have picked up. They seem to have picked up. And
Yeah.
what's your? I'm gonna go here, and I said I wasn't really. I was gonna. I'm still researching this. A bunch of weird stuff is happening. Weird stuff is coming out. I mean, you got this commercial or this play or something that Erica Kirk was in with 910 and 1010 and Tyler, and then you got
Right.
Snake Eyes with Charlie Kirkland, politician that gets shot in the neck on September 10th. And what is all of this about? I mean, is this
That
the
I don't
call? Is this
know.
Illuminati? I mean, because I know they have to tell. I know their rule is they have to tell you what they're doing. They have to put it out. What they're gonna do or what they're doing. But this, I think, went back to I think it was a 1998 movie or some shit, something like that. It's like,
Snake Eyes, I haven't seen it, but yeah, it was quite a long time ago. And all the references, I did actually see Erica Kirk's music video she was in,
yeah,
and that is really freaky. 910 was in there, and
nine,
then
10, 10, 10, and a guy named
Fremont.
Tyler was in the movie. I'm
I
like, I saw that like yesterday, and I'm like, all right, man, this is just getting too
I know.
weird.
I don't. I okay. All I can tell you is I believe Charlie is for real. I have no idea about Erica. I just know that what happened when my husband died, I couldn't even function when he died. I mean, sometimes you can
Right.
make yourself do things, but I don't see how she's so calm, honestly.
I mean, well, just going, starting to research, right? And I have these videos and how it goes back to when she was a teenager in Romania or at a
Right.
military base where they were doing child trafficking to this colonel on the
Yep.
military base in Romania. I mean, it goes way back then, and then how
And her
her
parents are in the
mom,
government.
yeah, her parents were in the government. They did some stuff with Israel. It's just really, really, you're like, was this planned? Well, was Charlie Kirk just a piece of the pawn? Was he just a pawn in all this? Because, you can look back in Charlie Kirk's background. His dad or parents were part of the government as well, but it's like you start looking at Erica's background and you see child trafficking, and then
Right.
the Romanian government wanted to investigate it, and it got shut down. And then all of a sudden, her business left Romania, and and all of this stuff got covered up, and then she's found in and and she's had, and from what other girls are saying, she had never been in a beauty pageant ever. And normally, when these girls are in beauty pageants, they started that as little bitty girls, and they
Okay.
grow up in it. Right? They say she had never been in a beauty pageant ever, and then got into this Miss USA in Arizona and won, and then went to
Oh man.
Israel and so. This shit is just like a scripted movie almost. And like you
I
said,
know.
when your husband died, you were like paralyzed, right? And that's mostly that's what I normally see when a woman and men, when they lose their spouses, and they just can't function. But she's functioning like
I know.
nothing really happened.
I know, and that is a red flag. But she could actually be an MK Ultra survivor too, just
And
because of
that's
her parents.
right, right.
I mean,
And
unfortunately, that's kind of a common thing with the people that work in the
and we're
government.
gonna
Their
say
kid,
make sure we say allegedly. We don't want nobody suing us. She could be allegedly, right? Because people
she
get
could
off
be
their stage and be,
allegedly.
oh,
I'm just saying it's possible because
yeah.
that's what they do when people work for the government. The kids will be given to the program.
I
So,
mean, and it almost seems. the way you talk about it, and you say that they're given to the program, you know, and it seems to me, I mean, this may be weird. I know people are gonna freak out, but it seems that she's almost is programmed. To me, I mean, that's what it
She
looks
sure
like to
could
me.
be.
I mean, because that I she's an actress. Saw her in the music video. She's an actress, and to me, at at the ceremony, at the funeral, whatever. To me, that her speech, and when she said, "I forgive the kid," and it, that just didn't seem real to me. It just didn't seem really, really real. It seemed almost like an act, like I'm in a play and I'm actually, because I really didn't see any big tears. And when I see people grieve, I mean, you almost you teared up here, and just thinking about your husband. She seemed to have teared up, but the, I didn't see any tears rolling down her face. I never did.
Right.
I mean, that's just me. I mean,
I mean, I don't want
in the
to.
chat, if anybody in chat, I mean, and I don't want to harp on that, and I don't want to, do that to her, but I mean, it just didn't seem real to me. To
That's
me,
kind of the first one was very touching. She did, but the funeral, I don't know. And then she was
and
just
maybe
doing
she
a
was over it.
podcast.
Right,
I
right,
I
right.
don't know. Like I mean, I don't want to say anything negative about her, but I've never seen anybody act so together because you're barely functioning. I mean, I did put this
Right.
my husband's celebration of life together, but I know God helped me do it, but I had to do it because I had to
I
do
mean,
it.
but
So
she's on the
my
talk show. She's back on TPUSA. She's in front of the microphone. She's doing the interview. She's doing,
yeah,
I mean, where are your kids? They lost their dad. You know, these kids. I mean, and maybe they don't really understand because they are kind of young. But I'm sure they're asking the questions, "Mommy, where's Daddy?" And that I'm
right,
sure. I mean, maybe she cries at night behind the, off camera. But most people just can't do that. Okay, so maybe she's stronger than than the average woman or whatever. But I'm just saying, it just seems kind of weird to me. And I'm not. People, don't be at me. I'm not putting down Erica Kirk or anything like that. But I'm going to say, I say the shit that I want to say. But it doesn't seem real to me.
right.
Her
Something is
action.
wrong. I can say that. Something is not right about this whole thing. I mean, immediately when they said Tyler was the killer, I knew it wasn't. I because it's always a CIA, the three-letter agency crap. You know, the whole thing. They're always doing that kind of setup. And I knew for a fact that he was nothing more than an MKUltra survivor, Patsy. So and they're proving that gun would have never, it would have blown his head off. So that gun and those bullets would have never
Everything
did what
about
they
this doesn't
said.
make sense. None of it makes sense. None
Right.
of it.
That's the bottom line.
None of it makes sense. I mean, even and now you say the family, right? And you say the family is always part of it. Okay, the family or the dad supposedly turned him in, right? So maybe he was like, "Hey, your son's gonna do this, and you got to turn him in." Maybe that's part of the programming. I don't know, but he never confessed though. And to this
Right.
day, I haven't heard a confession from Tyler. He said he was not guilty. He didn't do it. And
He didn't do it.
just every. I mean, I knew from day one he didn't do it. I'm like, this kid. I looked at him like, come on. And you have all these people. Oh, I can make that shot. My wife can make that shot. Blah blah blah. I'm like,
But
stop, stop,
everybody I've talked to
stop.
that knows guns, they said it would blow his head off.
It would have blew his
It
head
because
off,
it's so
and definitely
powerful.
wouldn't have. The bullet definitely wouldn't have stayed just under the skin
No
in his neck
way.
like he's Iron Man, like that surgeon. So I'm like, dude, how much are you gonna say to get this guy off? Because if I'm sitting on a jury of this guy's. I'm like, he's not. There's no way you can convince me, from a reasonable, out of a reasonable doubt that he's guilty just by the stuff that, you know, um, Cash Patel said. Yeah, there possibly was others, and I mean, just all of this stuff. It just doesn't make sense. And I didn't mean to get off on a tangent on that and the Charlie Kirk thing, but see, but I can sort of see the correlation maybe in there with MK Ultra, something
Mhm.
there, you
If you
know.
guys want to, in my opinion, Stu Peters has the best
That's my guy.
explanation of what
Right.
happened.
Yeah, the lapel mic.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems more something like that. That the government is involved somehow, some way with all this
Mhm.
nonsense. They usually always are. So that's
Right. So, do you think Israel has anything to do with it? Because that's the big thing, and that's my first thing. Is Mossad? Is Israel? Is the cabal? I mean, it's like everybody, but I mean,
if he's
because
really dead,
if he's really dead,
yes.
so you don't think he's dead?
No, some people don't think he's dead. I think he is. And if he really is
Okay.
dead, yes, I do believe they were involved because he turned down $150 million they were trying to give him because to go a certain direction and speak positively about Israel. So unfortunately, our government conspires with Israel about a lot of things and does very naughty things.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm fully aware of that. Definitely. I I talk about that all the time, and I've been called, the big A word, so many times. It never was effective on me because anti-Semitism is not the correct word anyway. Because to be anti-Semitic, you have to be against all Semitic people, and the Jews that's in Israel that are Zacharian Jews are not Semitic people anyway. So, miss me with that bullshit. So, but yeah, I mean, but yeah, we are conspiring. And do you think here? Let me ask you this because it seemed as though to me, okay, because I supported President Trump since 2015, campaign for him. I was at Mar-a-Lago. I was on the stage with him because I ran for Congress in 2020, 2022. So I was down there. So I met the man, shook hands, and everything. And right now, it seems to me, for some reason, since he was reelected, got reelected on promises that has not been kept yet. A lot of them, especially with the Epstein thing. Do you believe that after the assassination attempt that he's changed? Because to me, I believe he's changed. He's trying to play both sides of the fence somehow. And it seems like, okay, well, he ran on 24 hours, after being elected, that war is going to be over. And now they're talking about giving Ukraine Tomahawk missiles, you know,
I
to,
know.
you know,
Oh my gosh.
you know,
I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's so
I mean,
hard to
so
keep up. But anyway,
I mean, so do you think Trump has changed for some reason? Do you think that, and I don't even know if you're a Trump supporter. Are you or were you
yes, I
a
am
Trump
Trump's
supporter?
supporter, and I think he's doing the best job of most presidents. And I don't. I've
Hmm.
worked with 100 survivors all over the world at every age. Not a single one ever said Trump hurt them. So that's one thing. And I just don't sense Trump is a pedophile that maybe they're trying to make out to be. So he may have to play. He may have to play a little bit on both sides to get what he
Is
really
some of
wants
his
done.
family compromised, you think? Is some of his family compromised? And
I
that's why
hope
maybe
not.
he's
I
playing
haven't
both
sensed
sides?
that, but who knows? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. But you have met survivors that you say mentioned many
No,
names,
no. They
and
said,
Trump was not one of them. That Trump
yeah,
was not one of them that hurt them.
right. He's not one of them, but a lot of different politicians have been mentioned. So, um,
Okay, let's name names. Let's just name names, if you
well,
want.
you already know Obama and Biden, correct? Pelosi, Liz Cheney, Soros, they all worship Satan and they're all there at the satanic rituals. And they were at a satanic ritual when Hillary Clinton was to be president, and they did a 3 day ritual to bring
Is
in.
that when Obama? Is that okay? So because in that span, right? That's when Hillary Clinton disappeared for 3 days. Obama disappeared for 3 days. You remember that? I don't know if anyone
Was it in
really
2015?
understands or seen that. No, no, no. I mean, this was actually when I believe this may have been when Obama was going to be president, and Hillary Clinton was mad, and then they disappeared and went off for like 3 days, and it may have happened again in 2015 when she
Oh,
was
they do
going
rituals
to
all
be
the
president.
time. I mean,
Hmm.
they do satanic rituals to bring in anything they want. So, have you witnessed that the federal ice building, and apparently 2 days before Charlie was killed, they witches were doing curses. One was there was like I don't know how many they were doing a circle. That's just black magic. It's not so much as
I
what the
saw that. I think it
cabal
was an ice
worships.
facility in Chicago or somewhere
Yeah,
or something
but
like that.
that's not really the powerful things that they worship because it's much more powerful than that because they're using demons. They're using fallen angels to curse people, and they curse all the time for activities. They take advantage of all the eclipses, the full moons. They'll do curses and rituals to get what they want, for political, to bring down whatever they want. They also do that to hurt a survivor. If there's a whole bunch that they want something done, they'll use the moon, the eclipses.
So
And
has any so what has been done to you, and do you know by who? Because obviously you're a survivor, so they've tried to take you down. Other than your husband, and I know you said some spiritual attacks that they've been doing on you after your second book. So, when you first, I guess, realized that you were a survivor, I mean, what did that feel like, and what triggered? I know you said the writings. When you're writing, you start remembering stuff, right? I mean, but what actually triggered those memories to where you just knew, hey, I'm an MK Ultra survivor. I mean, you know what I mean? How do you know? How did you
first
know?
I started remembering the satanic ritual abuse of my
Okay, the
family.
rituals.
And so that kind of led me, then it went down, and the MKUltra was later because they do a lot more programming to make sure you don't remember with that. And then when that was remembered, then it was like remembering the military. And anyway, and then of course Clinton came up, and then all the different things that they had done to me and the different experiments. So they with every survivor, they always do experiments. So that's just a given. They steal their DNA, and then they mix it. They're doing a huge thing with trying to corrupt all of our DNA, like the time of Noah, where everyone's DNA was corrupted, and that's why in the Noah, his family was the only one that DNA was not corrupted. And so that's what the military is doing right now with all these experiments. They're taking the DNA and mixing it with different species and even insects, trying to make hybrids. They're using all this for their army. And they do make clones. I know that sounds really crazy, and it is crazy to me as well. But they use survivors' DNA and whoever else they can get to create these things. It is real. It's not a sci-fi. I wish it was, but I didn't remember any of this till a long, long time. So
I mean, well, in Israel, and you mentioned that because I know for a fact that the entire population of Israel, their DNA was given to a genome company by Benjamin Netanyahu, over for I don't know what experimentation to I don't know make a disease that only affects certain
yeah,
DNAs. They're trying to find out. Because one of the big things I think what happened is that they did a DNA. I forget who did it, but they did a DNA and said that all the people that's in Israel, they're not DNA. They did not. They are not God's chosen people because of their DNA, and they done a DNA test. They are not. Of course, they want to continue to push the lie, but they are not God's chosen people. And I think Netanyahu was, I mean, they're sinning. I think they're trying to, like, and it's funny that you mentioned that. They're trying to create this DNA to prove or try to, say and maybe inject it. I don't know, so they can try to prove that they are God's chosen people when they truly are not. And you mentioned that they've been doing these tests on DNA to find Noah's gene because that's the only pure gene that was left.
and they take every
Explain that. Take
survivor.
take take your time on that right there. Take your time on
Okay.
that.
Well, it's really hard to know that your own DNA is being split with, all kinds of things, and they want to create and they want to corrupt our DNA. That's their number one goal, because they want to make for Lucifer kind of a non-human, so to speak, and their intention is to make all human beings mixed with AI so that they're not really a human, kind of a cyborg. That's their
Well,
goal.
this is the transhumanism of Elon Musk that Elon Musk talks about. This transhumanism with the Starlink and in your brain, and
Yeah.
and you become a transhuman. And this to me, this is where I said that why they are pushing this big transgender
Yeah.
agenda right now, because all of these transgender, they want to see. I mean, I think they're going to be the transhumans, right? Because
That's what they
they
want.
want people to
Yeah.
believe that, okay, boys can be girls, and girls can be boys, but they know they can't because of the DNA. but they're trying to program people, and it's so bizarre. And it's so bizarre to me how many people fall for this shit. And you know,
Yep.
and they you know, and they tolerate it, the tolerance for it. I've never had a tolerance for it. I'm like, it is crazy. It is crazy that if you know, and if you're a God-fearing person, understand our DNA, you got XXXY chromosomes, and that's what they are trying to get rid of to make people
Yep. And
transgender.
just, you know what? They don't even believe in transgender. And I'll tell you why. Because when
Right.
I was working with a survivor that was in the UK, and we were working on his New World Order Army soldier programming, what he told me is his orders when they bring in the New World Order was to round everyone up, which is all of ours, but round everybody up, and that he was to kill anybody that was transgender, homophobic, sick, over 35 or 40, and I'm missing one thing, one category, mental illness. And then the other one is if anybody doesn't agree with them, if they don't follow Lucifer, like the mark of the beast that they're trying to roll out right now, then they're all killed.
Mhm.
And that was his job, to round everybody up. And he even said they're not even going to let that in their new world. So it's all bull.
Right.
So what they do is they sacrifice the kid. So you know some of the celebrities have three boys. That one lady, she has three boys, and then they're all transgender. It's because they
Hmm.
sacrificed to Baphomet, Moloch, whatever, Lucifer, and that was a sacrifice to sacrifice their child, because Baphomet is a half man, half woman,
It's half man. Right.
and that's why they're doing it. They don't even believe in it. The cabal doesn't even support it. They're not even going to let them live when the New World Order comes, if it ever does, which I believe we will not let them happen. But that's their
Right.
intention, is what I'm trying to share with people.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, we are conspiracy theorists. You know, talking about the New World Order. I mean, George Bush Sr. said it. You know, he brought in the New World Order when he became president. I believe at that point was the real kickoff is when he became president. You know,
Yeah.
after you know he was part of the Kennedy assassination, everything. I believe that he was there. He was a CIA director or part of it or something like that. Um, yeah, I mean, and that's the same thing with I think what's going on, of course, in Israel and Gaza is getting rid of people, is a genocide because the, the, those people that you know, like Netanyahu and these people, I mean, they are Satan worshipers, you know, and they just and they are, I think they are doing the business of Lucifer in my
Yeah.
eyes, you know, from what I see. I mean the same thing that's going on, you know, all over the world. You got all these Christians being killed in Nigeria and Syria and all
Yeah.
these other places. You know, the Christians are being murdered and you know and killed, and people are starting to speak up a little bit. You know, that's why I don't think I think they're having an issue right now bringing in the New World Order because people are waking up. And
Well, let me
not
tell you.
one of the
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Well,
No,
well,
no, no,
well
go
with the
ahead.
new. Oh, sorry. The New World Order is they have to have the digital ID in place for them to finish
Mhm.
their
In
plan.
the
And
UK, in Steinman, not to cut you off, but if you guys don't know, the Prime Minister of UK just said it was going to be law for
right,
for
they got
people
to
to
bring it in.
work for people to work. So they're going to cut off people's entire way of life
Yes.
unless they get a digital ID. He said that just 2 days ago.
And they're going to try to do it everywhere, because see, they can't bring in the
Mhm.
New World Order. See, everybody thinks that because Trump is in, that the New World Order plans have stopped. They're going right ahead along. All the things that I was updated with a long time ago when I was taken back has happened. Almost every single one, except martial law on their terms. So it's all happening. They have not stopped. So if we want to stop it, we have to stop them. Because I know it's nice to be Christian like and be loving and kind, but these people don't relate to that. They'll just step on you and kill you. So you have to
Mhm.
sometimes fight for your beliefs. You know, you have to fight for your family, for God, if they're going to try and kill you. And that's what their goal is to kill people that will not follow Satan. And that's the New World Order. Only people get to live if you follow Satan, the mark of the beast in the Bible. And
Mhm.
that really, I mean, everything the Bible says about the mark of the beast is the digital ID. Because if we ever get the digital ID, we're screwed.
Yeah,
So
and you know, and people. have been fighting that. You know, I'm one of the fighters of that. You know, because when they say the real ID, that's a digital ID. The real, you know, started with the real ID. I'm like, no, we would never do that. Fortunately, enough people are still fighting against that. So once again, they had to postpone the real ID because you don't need that. You know, then the digital ID, and then is Trump. Is Trump, and yeah, you know, because you mentioned, yeah, everyone thinks and thought that you know, with Trump in office, we were going to be saved. I tell people, Trump's not going to save us. You know,
No.
he may be there, and we think is, but looking at the thing, I mean, he just turned over really our entire health records and everything to Palantir, this AI company.
Oh no.
You know,
I
and
didn't
I
even.
think the guy that runs Palantir is a Satanist. You know, so that's like the medical record. So they have all of our data. They have, you know, our blood type. They have our DNA. I mean, all of this stuff is being fed and going to be fed into AI computers
Yep.
to where, okay, like, how do we survive that? Literally, as human beings, how do we survive that? How do we, I mean, beat this war? Basically, it's going to be war of the machines, a war with the machines. How are we going to survive and beat that if they're giving them all the data? It's already happening in Israel. Those people have, I mean, their DNA is already in a big genome company factory doing whatever with it, you know, being cloned to be super soldiers or whatever, you
Yeah.
know, and then to see President Trump do this and bring in Palantir, ushering in all of this AI.
I know. And that's the scary part because they would, if they don't win over us with AI, they will try to win the next generation because they will think it's cool, right? AI is cool.
Right.
And that's how they'll take over. Oh, it's cool
TikTok,
to
and
get the
this is
AI
why
in
they're
your
taking over
brain.
TikTok now, right? I mean, I think that's one of the worst things that ever could have happened. You know, is that they took over. I'd rather have TikTok shut down in the U.S. than having them run it, and now they're
Right.
running TikTok, so the algorithm is going to be reprogrammed. You know, for the kids because that's who use it for the young adults here in America, based on what they want them to see and hear
Hmm.
and do. Right.
I hate to say it, and I know this isn't very nice, but it is the truth because I know these people so incredibly too much. You will only stop them if you take the people out on the top. It's the only way because the people at the top are just a few and we're billions. And until
Who's
we
at the
figure
top?
out it's
Who are
them
they?
that we.
Who are they at the top? You say the people at the top. Who are they?
Well, I don't know that I would tell you that, but you've heard of the 300, right? In the 13 bloodline families. They
Mm-hmm.
run things like Rockefeller, the
Right.
Rothschilds, all
Right.
those. But there's a lot more at the top that run things too. And who's behind BlackRock and Vanguard, I don't know, but they are in charge of bringing in the New World Order by making sure they own all the houses. See, and even
Right.
Kissinger said, if you control the food, you control the people. And it's also
Right.
true if you control the information, you control the people. So there's only a few choices. We have to fight back, and we cannot
What,
just.
in your opinion, was COVID the test? Was COVID a test to see
It was
who would
part of
obey and
it,
who wouldn't?
yes, because there is a list of who would and who would not. Like who will fight back, who won't fight back, and then that's how they got everybody's DNA as well. Because those tests up the nose,
I
that's
never
to
took
get they
one.
was to get
I never
your
took one.
DNA. I
I
didn't
never
either.
took one. But yeah, there are, and they created a database of the
Yep.
people who took the jab. So they already know the people that won't because we're not in a database,
Right.
anywhere. So yeah, we're on a list somewhere. Okay, these are gonna be the resistors, the resistance, right?
Yep.
You talk
You
about the
you
Hunger
laugh, but
Games
it's
and
true.
oh no, I laugh because I know it's true, and it's just so. I mean, but and I also laugh because people, would say, "Oh, you got a tinfoil hat," and I proudly tell everyone I have a platinum hat. I don't have a tinfoil. Mine is platinum. Okay, and and I'm undefeated. I'm a conspiracy theorist that's undefeated. I've never been wrong yet, and I have people probably in the chat that can back me up on that. But um, I mean, yeah, there has to. I mean, because when you look at all the movies, you look at the Terminator, you look at the Hunger Games. I mean, you always have this resistance groups, right? in these movies, those are just fiction enough to make people think it's not real, right?
Right. But
But they are
they tell
real.
you, like Snake Eyes, apparently. But you know what? I think that we have enough people awake right now that we have a chance to stop them. But I don't think they're not gonna stop towards us.
Oh
Just to
no,
let you
no,
know
they're
that.
not.
They're
But
never
I
gonna
know they're
stop.
not. Well, because they want total control of the world, and that's what Lucifer wants. No,
Right.
I got in an argument. Well, not an argument because I don't argue with people anymore. But either they take the information or they don't. Because I told them that Lucifer runs the earth. Lucifer was the fallen angel out of heaven down to earth. Lucifer runs this world down here. That's why Jesus in heaven is ascended and above this, because this is Lucifer's domain. And people actually
Yeah.
argue with me, and I'm like, how can you say you're a Christian and don't understand that
Right.
Lucifer was cast out of heaven, and where the hell you think he went? Where you think he went, right? You know, I mean, down here he's running these things, right? And
That's
that's
right.
why a lot of bad things happen. People say, well, how can God allow bad things to happen? God put Lucifer down. I mean, he put him down here. You have a choice to follow Lucifer or follow God, right? I mean, this is the
Right.
choice that that humans have, that faithfuls have, and you have to have on that armor, right? The battle armor of God, what they talk about in the Bible. You have to have that on to be able to see it and recognize it, because it baffles me that a lot more people still don't see they're still stuck in the matrix. They're still stuck
Yeah.
behind whatever programming they have, right? I mean, because I got deprogrammed. I was deprogrammed a long time ago, to where I left the matrix for some reason that I don't, I began to see, probably because I prayed about it, but I began to see things for what they are. I mean, I can go all the way back to 9/11, even before that. I think it was like 1999, right? And going to the year 2000 when I saw, you remember when they say, "Oh, everything's going to crash and the world's going to come tumbling down because of the calendars and the computers, because it's going to
Right.
go 0 0, all that stuff." I'm like, stop, man. you know, just cut it out, right? And that's when I began to see, how people are controlled by fear.
Yep.
Number one, people are totally controlled by fear. I mean, you can go all the way up. The global warming hoax. You got, like I say, the COVID. I mean, it's so many people, and the COVID really, really opened my eyes to how many people are just gonna die because
Yep.
they're just gonna listen. They're just gonna be obedient.
They will, and
They're
they'll get
not
the mark
going.
of the beast. And I think many people will get the mark of the beast and give in. And when you take away people's food, they do a lot of things they wouldn't do, and that's part of the New World Order, right? They control their food, they control everything you do, and part of their New World Order plan is the only one that gets organic or good food is the cabal, and they're the only ones that have any transportation, and they want us all in smart cities. We won't be allowed to have a car. They want us to go to work, the ones that are still alive. And then this is when I was telling people from 2015, people were like, "Oh yeah, right, okay," but they're doing it right now. And what they had updated us with is that people go to work, they come home, they put their virtual reality on, and they're on some kind of drug, and then they just act like a zombie for the rest of the night. They go back to work, and they're just the slaves, and that's what they think of us. So that is their literal, serious plan that they programmed millions of survivors with. So if you think these people follow Satan, when they want to make a change or do something, they literally will have a satanic ritual, and they will pray, and they will sacrifice to get the power from these god demons, these pagan god and demons from the ancient times that you're familiar with, probably Isis and Astarte and all those. So we have to realize who they are and what they're doing and where they're getting power. And the only way that we can overcome it is if we go to Jesus Christ and we go to God the Father and we ask for help to defeat them. Because we're in a battle, just like we once were. We're in a battle again before Jesus Christ comes. And we are not going to be Christ like and sit back and let them try to take our children and kill our children and use our children. And that's what I think Christians have to realize. Sometimes you do have to stand up and fight because your
I mean,
children,
Jesus. I mean, he said, "Put on." Like Carolyn said in the thing, God knew. That's why he said, "Sell your cloak and buy a sword." And Jesus wasn't always a nice dude. He kicked over tables and threw the bankers, the money changers out of the temple and everything. So that's where I agree with you. That's where we have to be, because this tolerance thing, right?
mm-mm,
This tolerance thing has gotten us to where we are
that's
right
right.
now. Being tolerant on everything that they say, and that was one of the psyops. That was part of the programming of the masses to not follow the Bible, to to be tolerant of all of this ungodly things, like the pedophilia and the pornography and just all of this stuff, the homosexuality, the transgenderism. Oh, we just have to be tolerant, because no, that's where we screwed up at.
That is right. And we can't be anymore. I mean, I really feel like these are the last days. I don't necessarily believe in the rapture, really, but I do believe that we are in the last days. And when
Right.
Christ comes, he's going to take care of the evil, the wickedness. But I think until then, it says in the Bible, things are going to be tough. So I don't
Mhm.
see honestly, I don't want to be negative, but I don't see a golden age where all of it stops.
It's not being negative. It's being truthful. We do that here. And here I call this the lion's den. So you're in the lion's den right now. This is where we tell the truth. We tell the truth. Daniel went down into the lion's den. This is where we tell the truth. Whether people want to listen to it, hear it, believe it or not, that's up to them. But I mean, this is, like I said, one place. This is why the show isn't scripted. This is why it's not filtered. It's not censored, and we say whatever we want to say. And this is probably why a lot of we get blocked on YouTube and other platforms sometimes. But we're being heard by all over the world now too. And, from my the podcast that's on pretty much every podcast station worldwide. But I mean, we really have to fight. I mean, we are in for the fight of of our lives, the fight of this country. And the more I see, like, for example, I see something. I spent 27 years in the Navy, in the military, before I retired, and I have never seen a Secretary of Defense call all the generals and all the admirals
Mm,
into one place, like Pete Hegseth just did,
yeah.
where they're going to meet in Quantico, Virginia.
Wow.
All of them, for what? What's about to take place? What is about to be unleashed? What are we about to find out? What is, because that's something that they didn't even want to put out in message form. They didn't even want to put that out in a, because most of it's secret, and not in an email, but through the skiff. They send messages worldwide. These secret, top secret messages. He called them all in. He's getting them all in the same room. That has
Something's
never
probably going
happened.
down. Like, I think something is probably going down. But I want to say one thing to everyone: if you can't stand and fight for yourself, I ask you to fight for your children, because the number one thing they want is your children. That is why everything is an attack on the kids today, because their whole everything is to take the children and take the parents' rights away. And in this new world order that they
Mhm.
have created, that they want to have happen, no, nobody will be a family. They will not allow you to have children unless they make you to have the child, but the child will be taken and raised by the government. Right now, they have to have your children for all their sexual, horrible stuff. They have to have them as slaves, and that's why they're doing everything in the world to brainwash them right now. So if you can't fight for your family, and just you or your husband or whoever, your partner, friend, do it for the kids, because that is who they're after.
I mean, you see that. I mean, I see every day, and it seemed like it's ticked up. I know it's ticked up since I was, over the years, but it seems like it's even picked up even more recently. But there are many, many kids coming up missing every single day.
Yeah. What
Whether it's
did they say?
for, I
There's
mean,
eight
they say
million.
over.
a year, 8 million
Yeah,
children
like
missing a
8 million.
year.
Yeah. And where are they going? I mean, it's like, I know where they're going, but I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
how do capture and get that many kids? I know there's is organ harvesting going on. There was a big article I just read about there's major organ harvesting going on in Haiti right now. And that's part of where the Clintons, did things and took over and, part of
yeah,
that thing, and I'm sure that's part of the rituals, because they need these kids and they need
yeah,
these, organs and they need the blood and they're testing. Like I say, it goes back to the DNA thing. All of this stuff is satanic and it's just and it happens constantly and way too much in my opinion.
yeah.
But I see it every single day. These kids, especially in Virginia, right? I used to live in Virginia for 20 years, and I mean just around Virginia, the Tidewater area, the Fairfax County area. I mean, there's more kids missing in just that one county of
The
Fairfax on an annual
military.
basis around the
Well,
military bases and all of that. Huh?
yeah, because the military bases in Virginia, as I was working with a survivor, and anyway, it's a long story, but she was able to, she was still like connected to the clone that they had made of her, and it was in Virginia, and it was in the military base underground. And what they were doing, but it was affecting her as well, is when they were, I don't know, lunchtime or whatever, the military, whoever was doing this experimenting, they went in and they would have sex with the clone over and over and over again, and that would also traumatize her as well. So, because it was
Almost
her
like the
DNA.
you remember that movie, The Entity, when the ghost would come down. So it's like,
There's a lot that goes on in Virginia. No kidding. The base.
well, you got Langley, you got Quantico, you got, I mean, the naval shipyard. You have, like you say, there's tunnels underneath the White House. I mean, they
Yeah.
even showed, I guess, some footage, and that footage disappeared, but supposedly they were rescuing kids out of these tunnels at the White House, and at night, and you could actually see them. Some people had satellite images or something, but yeah, I mean, and I know they have the dumbs. I know they have those. So I
Mm.
know a lot of things do go on underground. I mean, I knew someone that he was a truck driver, and he said that he went miles underground to deliver things in its mazes down there. He said, if you don't really know where you're going, you get lost under there. It's so, you
It's
know,
like a different world. And
Air
I'm
Force
sure you've
Base.
already seen the map or whatever, but it's from the west to the east coast underground. So that's how they get all the kids. And they also have the submarines, for Epstein Island and actually Biden's Island. Um, so,
Biden's Island. So
well,
is
doesn't he have an island down there? Because I was at least told by another survivor that she had a clone on Biden's Island. So I think he has an island close to Epstein, doesn't he?
that one? That's a new one to me. As
But
far as the
anyway, they
Biden
bring
Island, I know.
the submarines. Most people don't know that what they
Right.
can do
Yeah.
underwater as well.
I mean, well, I know they talked about Ghislaine Maxwell had her submarine license or something, and Epstein, and that's how they would transport a lot of the kids to that island as well, was a submarine. That they do have those. I did read about that and part of that. So why do you think, and I can almost know what you're going to say, but I want to hear. I want you to give your opinion, to the audience. And one, why do you think they won't release the Epstein list? And two, do you believe Epstein is dead?
I do believe Epstein's dead, but the reason they won't because it would really every probably person on the government it would take out worldwide, right? I mean, how many different
That's
people?
yeah.
So that is a major reason. Somebody did share a show on that. That if they took out everybody that been to Epstein Island, like the world would kind of, I don't know, a little bit
I mean, it would take
crash.
down. It would take down world governments. It would
Yeah,
take down world governments. So my thing is, fuck, let it fall.
me
If if
too.
if it's worth taking these people down and and executing these people and whatever it takes, even if it's this country, let it fall. Let it
Yeah,
fall. We'll
me too.
rebuild. We'll get back. But it has to. And until that happens, we will continue to suffer. We will continue to go through this. The kids will continue to come up missing. We'll still have these mass shootings. Like you say, these mass shootings are picking up. And I think one of the reasons the mass shootings are picking up because so many people are calling for the names. So many people are calling for the Epstein list. We want to see the names. We want to see the list. We want to see the videos. We want all these people exposed. Who are they? who are they? We want to know. And they know, well, maybe we can't keep holding them off for too long. So, now
Well,
let's,
the thing
you know,
is, I don't have any faith in the Epstein Island files because they've had them for years. Don't you think they're going to doctor them up seriously? I mean, after years and years. And you know
I
what?
mean, I think the originals are in Israel. I think they still have the originals. I think they have
Oh,
the
if you think
videos.
that is
Uh,
possible. But you know what? The people that are on Epstein Island, most of us already know who it was years ago. Like, and survivors have come out many times against them, but nobody would listen. So, anyway,
and they still
I don't
won't
have a lot
listen.
of faith in
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. I mean, well, another thing I say is they do have the videos. The video don't lie too much, so they have everything they need. Let's just put it like that. They have
So, you
everything they
think they
need.
still kept the videos around?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is how, in my opinion, they still are blackmailing our government. Period. I mean, because if they yeah, yeah, they have the videos and they still have the blackmail material. They have everything, and they reinforce. This is why, to me, all these people, they go to Israel on these APAC trips. We just had 250 legislators from all 50 states
I
over there
know. Oh
saying
gosh.
50 states, one Israel. What the hell is that? You're representing the United States, and why do we have handlers in our Congress, APAC handlers? Why do we have dual Israeli citizens that's in our Congress that's running our government? Why do we have that? Because they are the handlers, they are the controllers
Yeah.
of most of what's happening. I think here in the country by blackmail because all the people, and this is what and I know this for a fact. Now I'll say this: all the people that go to Israel and go kiss the wall or go on these APAC trips or whatever, every last single one of them come back compromised. Every last one of them. And here's why, because every room they have, I mean, they even said Netanyahu bugged, you know, the bugged the White House when he came and used the bathroom or something. Don't let Netanyahu use your bathroom. But everything down there is bugged. Everything. Everything they
Okay.
say, they get videoed everywhere they go. Their bathrooms, their hotel rooms, their restaurants, everything is bugged. And so, because when I went to Russia, we went on a mission to Russia. I took my air crew. We took the Armed Forces Services Committee to Russia the first time Putin was president. Okay, and in our debrief before we even went, they said, well, understand that you're going to be followed by KGB everywhere you go, and everywhere you go is going to be bugged, right? And so our hotel room was bugged, and they came and checked our hotel rooms every night. And it was so funny how they did that, because every time we would leave our hotel rooms and we would come back, a few things would happen. Like the TV would be turned up real loud, and the TV wasn't left on when you left, or your suitcase would be turned upside down, instead of right side up. So they let you know that they've been there, right? But this is how people, they get drunk, they get drugged, and they get these, or either they get, the audio recordings of things that they say in their rooms or someone they may be talking to, and they use this stuff against them. They use this stuff to blackmail them. And the ones that they know drink, the ones that they know do drugs, right? They drug them, get them drunk, and they pass out in their bed, and they put a kid in the bed with them and take a photo, and they may not have even known it. And then all of a sudden, they get back to the United States and they're being asked to do certain things, and it's like, well, I'm not going to do that. And then they get a picture of them in bed with a kid,
Yep.
you know, and now their life is destroyed. And now they have to do that. And this is why everyone, except Massey, said that everyone has a APAC handler. I mean, so our entire government, Stu Peters, you mentioned Stu Peters, he's a good friend of mine. I've been on Stu Peters' show a lot, especially when I was running for Congress. He's been on this show, and Stu Peters said, we are an occupied nation.
Yeah.
We are occupied, and like you say, there's millions that are being controlled. I mean, right in our own government. I mean, so how do we
Yeah.
get around that? How do we, like I say, we have to
You
fight.
shut
They're
them
making these
down.
laws, you know,
You
and shut
close
them
the
down.
government.
I
Everybody's
would love
fired,
that.
and then you start a
I would love
brand
that.
new republic.
I would love that. I wanted to start a campaign, and I'm still starting a campaign. And some people say that do not vote for any incumbent. All of them have to go. We have to think all of them are compromised. Yeah, some
Yep.
others may be running, and I mean, but you know what though? There's good Americans running. I ran, and I had the Uniparty spend $7 million to keep me out of Congress. So I mean, but I think all 535 of them have to go, even though there may be some good ones like
Yep.
Massey. You know, there may be a couple good ones, but all of them
Everybody
have
has
to
to
go
go.
because you have to consider all of them are compromised at this point. Every last one of them.
Absolutely.
And we have refugees from other countries in our Congress. We have people that are beholden to other governments. We can't have that in our government. All of them have to go. We have to start fresh, and we
Yes.
can do that as per the Declaration of Independence. But they're making it hard now. See, and this is one of the things where I agree with, but I don't agree with President Trump right now, right? And I understand that they are making it seem like okay, it's about security of America. The things with the Portland and sending in the National Guard in D.C. I'm all for stopping murders of black people. I'm a black man, and by other black people. I want to stop that, right? And we want to get these Antifa who are trained Nazis from Ukraine. For those that don't know, okay, Antifa are trained in Ukraine by the Azov Nazis who Putin is fighting against, trying to fight against, and we continue to fight against Putin, but we're actually helping the Nazis. But for President Trump, okay, he's going to send the National Guard. Well, actually, he said the military. It's not even National Guard because they're a terrorist organization, right? To get them out of Portland. But I'm like, okay, so how far is that going to go? Are we going to go to military law? Martial law. Are we going to go to martial law across the nation? And then where are we? And then where are we? So,
No, because
that's a fine line of being
it
able to
is.
accept and agree with that, right?
Yep. Because that's what the bad people want is martial law. So I don't know how the good guys are going to use it, but that is part of the New World Order plan. So is to have martial law.
So martial law. So to be clear for everybody, martial law is not a good thing. It is not a good thing. And no matter how they want to dress it up as we are fighting crime in the cities riddled with murders and riddled with, we don't want martial law in the United States nationwide.
I mean, I can't say what the good guys have planned if there really are good guys. I don't know. People think
Are
the
there
white
white
hats,
hats
but
though?
I don't
Because
know
people
what
say
to say.
the white hat. I tell people the white hats are not coming to save you. There are no freaking white hats. We have to save ourselves. We
I
have to
That's what
save
I feel, but
ourselves. Right? I don't think I've ever been controlled or MK Ultra or anything, far as I know. I know my mom and dad weren't. But so I think I'm too awake, and I think I see things, with a lot of clarity. To I can probably say that, and I don't even have Siri on my phone. I don't keep Siri on, so I'm not. Siri can't listen to everything I say, but I think I would definitely be part of the resistance. So I know I'm probably on some list, termination list, right? They give my name to the Terminator, to come
yeah,
after me. But a lot more people I think, have to stand up and be that, and they keep, I guess, promoting the fear so you won't do it with the martial
absolutely.
law, with different things, right? That's
I
just me. That's the way I feel about it.
I think they're trying to hit a whole bunch of mass shootings to traumatize people. So people are already traumatized when they do something big. I think they're trying to
Conditioning,
yeah,
definitely
right now
conditioning.
is that like traumatizing. Oh my gosh, they went to a church, oh my gosh, they went here. And so you start getting traumatized because you can relate to some of this stuff. And that's what they want to make us weak, and then that's when I think they'll bring in something big.
Something big like a big attack on America.
Yeah,
The
it'll be
spaceships,
attack on
we've
our
been attacked by.
it'll be in America. It'll be attacked because there's so many sleeper cells already all in
We
every
have,
city. And so their thing is to bring a really big event so they can have martial law and take over the people, take over the government. But that's the wicked side. That's the cabal, the deep state cabal's plan.
right. So, do you think Trump is fighting the cabal?
Yes.
Him and his administration, with what they're doing. You think, Pete Hegseth, just called all these guys to, Virginia to tell them, hey, we're about to go to war with the cabal. We're about to end the IRS. We're about to end the Fed. We're going to have some chaos. We're going to, you know what I mean? Because in my mind, that's what, I would want the white hats to do. We need to end the Fed. We need to end usury. We need to go back to the gold standard. We need to end the IRS. We need to end property taxes where people actually own their property outright once they pay for it, and the government can never take their properties for them. We have to get rid of BlackRock, get rid of Vanguard, so there's a whole bunch of things that I that I would want these white hats to do. Does that sound feasible, or is he calling everybody to DC because they know something big is about to take place and they're going to have to impose martial law to protect or save the people?
Honestly, I don't know. I can only tell you what I do know, and that is the cabal's plan of they are planning to take take us down, and they're going to have to do that. They have nothing left to lose because nobody believes them anymore. So they can't hide their secrets. People know who they are. They're Satanists. So many people know all these things about them, and that was their secret, that they could get away with everything. And so they have nothing left to lose except go full throttle with the New World Order plan. And I really think that they're still doing that.
Yeah, and then you say the catalyst would be if they implement, and you see it like say in the UK, if they implement this um, ID, this digital ID on Americans, we're pretty much done. We're not done in a sense like that, but that's when the hammer is going to come down, because if you can't work like in UK, you can't work unless you have a digital ID. So is that going to be the ignition point to where
Yeah,
the
if they get the
people?
ID, they've won because they control everything from that moment on. They control your
Mhm.
food, they control your bank, they control every your credit score, your health records, everything. Then you'll either choose to obey or you'll be killed. So
So do you think they gave Trump that ultimatum? Because like I say, he turned over everything to Palantir, and that's going to be our health records and things like that. Do you think they gave him an ultimatum, and he's like, "All right, I quit. I don't want to be shot at no more. I don't want my family to be hurt." Because he's doing some very strange things right now. To me,
well, usually when he does something strange, he's usually got a plan to, I don't know, that actually means something later on. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see what he's doing. But you know what? He may have to negotiate a little bit to get some of these bigger things done. So I don't know if he's doing that too.
yeah, yeah, it's one of those. I guess hurry up and wait, as we used to say in the Navy, but prepare. I guess hope for the best, prepare for the worst. You know.
Yep.
And I'm gonna let you go in a minute. I just find this fascinating though. But okay, so do they, as you're in this MK Ultra state, secrets like you know um beings from another planet, or are we alone here? Do you say you took messages back and forth? So what are some of the messages, if you can remember, and you may not, but
I don't remember. It
what
was,
are some of the
just
messages?
government BS, but no, I did not remember the actual memory of the message. But they do have alien programming, so I don't know. I never witnessed an alien anything, but I do know they have alien programming because a lot of survivors have it. So I don't know if they believe it's alien because of the programming or if there really is. I don't know.
So what type of actions do they do? What type of, do from talking to people, this alien type programming? What does that
They think
consist
they've
of?
been
What
taken
is
off planet. They'll come and get them and take them off, and then they experiment them on them.
Okay, so people that say
And
they've been abducted. A lot of
yeah,
people say that, that they've
some,
been abducted and taken and
yeah,
had these bodily fluids removed and stuff like that. Right?
yeah.
I've heard that
It's not
before.
my area of expertise really. So I hate to say too
I,
much about
I,
it.
yeah, but you've talked to some survivors, some that may think that or believe that.
Yeah, that they've been taken off planet, but honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't.
No, I hear you. I totally understand that. Okay, so were there moments of moments when you felt that when you were getting closer to the truth, right? You were finding out this stuff, you were writing, you had these memories, come back, and do you feel like that there were moments when these institutions or whatever happened, your programming blocked your access to all this information when you was getting truth? They recalled you and reprogrammed you again to wipe out whatever memories you were having, at that time.
They do that to every survivor, but you just keep going and eventually you'll win, especially if you figure out what's going on and what they actually did. Because, see, until I figured out what they really did in the template, I proved it that 100 survivors worldwide, all cultures, all ages, in all geographical areas, they all had the same programming of the template, which is a spiritual template. It was all done the same ages, everything was the same. So I have proven what I'm saying. I'm not just saying it. And that's when I figured out that I had a New World Order soldier, that I had this tree of death programming that was basically built on taking
Hmm.
everything from God and inverting it. And they believe in the Kabbalah, but inverted. So that's how they use the programming, is inverted Kabbalah. And they download, they use demons, fallen angels to do the programming. These military people they do use fallen angels and witchcraft to accomplish their goals. So if I said somebody belonged to, let's say if I call them Mason military, and that means they're Freemasons. They belong to the Illuminati. They'll belong to the Druids, and they'll also know how to do witchcraft. And so all of these uh, groups act as one. And so usually it's the same people belonging to all the same groups. So that's what I'm trying to help people understand, because we want to say, oh, it's just this person does this and this person does that, but that's impossible, because you cannot program millions of people worldwide and keep it organized. They have to have a template. They have to know exactly what they're doing, at what age they're doing it with that child and the teenager and the adult, and they have to know exactly what they're doing, and it has to be organized, because the hierarchy of Illuminati is organized from the very top. If the top wants something done, it goes all the way down the ladder to the lowest, in the lowest peewee in a little town in the middle of nowhere is still going to get the orders from the top, because that's how it's built. And so we have to understand that this is organized all over the world. They do the same thing. And if you think about it, there's no way they could accomplish what they do if it wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely a fact. That the hierarchy controls everything. It
Yep.
definitely does, and they get the pawns to do the work. I mean, you see that. So, are you So, what practical steps? I know you said pray, and things like that. But what practical steps can, let's say, myself or anyone take if they suspect that they are, or a family member, was subjected to, let's say, some covert unethical, because this is all unethical in my opinion,
Well, of course.
experimentation. And are there other specific resources like yourself or organizations or anything legal? Can they do anything legal, to remedy this, or what can they do?
Well, they could shut them down, and how you shut these programs down is you stop letting them have money. But the CIA, the Pentagon, and all of them have endless amounts of money where they don't
Unlimited
account
black
for it.
money. They have black money that no one even knows where they get their money
Right.
from.
So you shut off their money is the only way to shut it down. So, but what I would suggest to everyone, that I do have a couple modalities, like about 5 or 6, that every single person can use. And the modalities are based on healing and bringing your subconscious to help you remember. So writing is of course one, but if you have a lot of trauma and emotional problems, tapping is amazing to help you release your negative emotions, as well as have your subconscious mind open up and show you what's there, and then let it go. So, like, let's say
You
you
say
just had
tapping,
a
tapping,
tapping.
like,
It's
mhm.
called tapping. Some people know it as EFT, but I use a different tapping. It's in both of my books. I show you all the different modalities and how to use them. But then I use body code. I use muscle testing. I use the courts of heaven. Once we figure out what we're going to do, we find out the information from the survivor, and then we go to the courts of heaven and ask Jesus to start removing this and the legal rights of demons. And we start healing the altars in a survivor's mind, because it's been split. So the end goal is to bring the mind back together. A lot of professionals think that the survivor can't, or anybody that has a fractured mind cannot bring it back together. That's a lie. You can. And so I've witnessed it many times, and finally, that happened for me. But it wasn't until I understood the spiritual template that was I able to, because I was always looking at the front programming, and that's just programming that they like to f with your mind, different programmings. And so if you're a survivor, do not fall in the hole of a programmer, because they are just playing with your mind, and don't do that. Focus on the spiritual programming. In my books, I show you the exact map of how to do it, where to go. This is for professionals and survivors. If you don't have anybody to help you, 2 and 3 will show you exactly how to remove the programming and pull your mind back together. It is difficult. It's not easy. They made it that way. They made it so you'll never remember, and they also made it, pretty difficult to get to this stuff. But the real secret is it's not the programming itself that keeps someone so programmed. It's the spiritual programming and the demons they attach to the person that keeps them in bondage. And Jesus Christ is the only one that can free you from that bondage, because he's the only one that has the authority. So I teach a lot about how to use prayer, how to address curses. We all get curses. They curse everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a survivor or not. They love to curse you. So it's really important that you, as an individual, know if something's wrong in your life. There's usually a curse, or there's just demons messing with you. So let's just say you have money problems. Okay, so money is a big issue. Do an ancestral clearing and get rid of the fallen angels that are attached to you for that money problem. If you have a health issue, there's fallen angels there as well. You got to get rid of them. They can be like depression. There's always fallen angels with depression or any mental illness. Schizophrenic, I believe, is nothing more than just them hearing the demons talk to them. And because the professional licensed therapists, they don't believe in demons, so they're never going to address that. They'll just give you a bunch of drugs, which they always do. And I honestly feel like some of those drugs are they're downloaded with demons as soon as you take them. So it's really important for all of us to understand what they're doing with the demons, because they're going after all of us with them. So there's not a single soul on this planet that hasn't been attacked by a fallen angel, doesn't have fallen angel attachments from their ancestors. So it's important to do an ancestral clearing, and I explain that in my books. It's simple. All the things that I teach are very simple to do, and you can do it, and you don't have to be a survivor. But all these things I learned over the years. So I'm up to like 32 years or something like that. And so I just started, when I finally found things that work, I just was crazy about finding everything I could and wanted to learn everything I could that would help, pull my mind back together, that I could help people with. So this is like years of experience, years of learning, years of just, trying to heal myself. And these are really successful things that I have figured out and helping survivors around the world. So that's what I've been doing. I don't see clients anymore, not right now, but I do the training for professionals so that they will help survivors, because we just don't have very many people to help. And the cult made it that way. So
right. So where can people get your books? Where are
on
they
Amazon.
available?
So one is Puzzle Pieces Together, The Cabal, Mind Control, and Slavery. And then the second one is Puzzle Pieces Together, and it's a manual, A Pathway to Freedom. And the third one is Puzzle Pieces Together, Hidden Knowledge. I think if you're not a survivor, but you want some knowledge, book 1 is really good. It's the basics. It's pretty easy to read. It's not too triggering. But when you get to number 3, it's not only going to be very triggering, but I think we all should know the information that I have written in the first part of the book. I think all adults need to know what the cabal has created and done. And this is based on all the people I've worked with. And anyway, that's what number 3 is. So, and that's the one, number 2 and number 3, you guys, if I was teaching crap and it was not true, then they wouldn't come after us for 18 months. And then since I've been publicly speaking out, I'm getting spiritually attacked again. So, if I was teaching crap, they wouldn't care. They would just leave me alone. They wouldn't even focus on me. It wouldn't even matter to them.
Right. Right here, I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully, let me see. Presentation. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, so that's our book right there.
That's
Right.
number 3.
This is number 3. So this is the title, Puzzle Pieces Together. Okay, so that's number 3. She has number 2 and number 1, and
It should be
I have
right
to go.
underneath it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to. I'm scrolling. Okay, yeah, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
Puzzle Pieces, Hidden Knowledge. Puzzle Pieces, the Cabal. So that's
Yeah,
number 2
number 1.
right there.
Oh, is it? No, that's number 1.
Right? Oh, that's
That's
number 1. Puzzle Pieces
that's
to
for
the Cabal, Mind
everybody.
Control, and Slavery. Okay, this one is for everybody. Okay, so you have that one, and then you have.
2.
I think that's number 1.
And then this one tells a lot about not only information about the
Oh, this is
Kabbalah.
part 2. This one is part 2. Okay, the last one was number 1. This one is part 2. Okay.
Yeah. And this will talk about the inverted Kabbalah, what that really means, why do they worship these god and goddess demons, how this all started back in the beginning of time, honestly. So, and I'll show you how the Cabal, how the Druids and the Freemasons and all that kind of converted to the demon worshiping. So, but this is also a manual with all the tools of how to heal yourself, and it's for professionals and survivors, but it has all the tools if you want to just help yourself. And then number 3, I didn't go over information again, so number 3 is pretty new, except how to remove the tree of death programming, which is the spiritual kingdom of Lucifer. I do go over that a couple times for professionals because they didn't quite understand. And so I was very thorough in that. And in this book, it's enormous amount of knowledge that a lot of it is not published because it came from 20 women that they call the Mothers of Darkness, who are the highest groomed in the Illuminati. And the Cabal
And
uses them as a
and
weapon
this is
against
the book.
humanity.
So those ladies, those top 20 ladies, their knowledge of whatever is in this book here.
Yep. They shared the same thing, by the way, same template. They have the core foundation programming, but they also had additional programming, but it was still the same in each one. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but you might as well know it. So they created these groomed ladies to be a weapon against humanity. But what they didn't do, what most people don't know, is that there's 13 mothers of darkness that rule the world. And then there's a queen of darkness who is literally over all the world. And these people are awake. They have chosen evil and they control the other ones. But even when someone was so tortured under the Mother of Darkness programming, very few still went to Lucifer with their own free will. So that's the interesting thing. Even MKUltra survivors, they've been so tortured to never go to Jesus that very, very few ever picked Lucifer with their free
Wow.
will. So that's the crazy thing, because we've been so tortured at every age, never, ever, ever to go to Jesus Christ. And yet so many of us do. And none of us, most of us never go to Lucifer with our own free will. Because there's a difference. If you're an altar, that's not your free will.
Right.
That's mind control.
Right. Wow. Amazing. So I'm going to check. Anybody got any questions? Can you take some questions real quick if we have any questions in the chat? I'm just
Sure.
going to look real quick. Anybody have any questions for Laura? We had a couple more minutes. If not, I'll let her go. But
Oh, and this is what I'm trying to tell everybody too,
Mhm.
is I do not want anybody to take on what I said and let it traumatize you. I'm only educating. So never
Right.
ever take on the stories that you hear from people because otherwise it'll bring you down. That's not the purpose of my work. It is to educate only. And I'm telling you, please do not take on anything I've said, because it will
So is this
just,
why? And you know, and I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people saw Charlie Kirk get assassinated live on TV, and that was by design to cause trauma into
yes.
people, and that has affected so many people, you know,
Yep.
in this country, you know, that they, you know, couldn't function.
Right.
You know, they couldn't function. You know, I saw that. I'm like, damn, he ain't getting up from that. That's pretty messed up. He just got assassinated live on TV, but that was by
Yep.
design to put fear into people, to cause this trauma. Because when you have trauma and you're, that's like a altered state of mind, because you know, and put fear. That's part of fear, and God didn't give us, you know, the fear, you know, in our bodies. He didn't give us that. But when that happens in that trauma, your mind becomes very susceptible
Mhm.
to a programming, because a lot of
Right.
people are programmed that day. A lot of people have been programmed since that
I
day.
believe it. I think that was their intention, but see what I think is happening is they did Charlie. Now they're doing the mass shooting at the church. You know, all these shootings is to keep like traumatizing. So when they do the big
Hmm.
hit, it's going to be that people will be very weak, is what they're looking for. So don't take on people's stories that you hear, because when I just started seeing clients, I started taking on their story, and this person who was he was doing certifications in a certain area, and he said you never can take on the story of your client, because if you do, you'll drown with them. And I learned to have love and compassion, but I didn't take on their story so I could
Right,
actually help them. Because
right.
if you take on somebody's story, you're no good to anyone. You can't help anybody.
Hmm.
So, especially if you're in the professional world of helping, but I don't want to traumatize people. That's not my point in this. So,
Well, good, very well, very good. I don't see any questions. Actually, you know, some of the things is it's delayed in some places, so I always give it a few minutes because we're on a delay. But I mean, but yeah, I will. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming into the Lion's Den and sharing your story, sharing your experience. You know, giving us your warnings and, you know, and everything. Because I've always believed, especially since the documents have come out and said that yeah, there is and there was and there probably still is. I mean, who said it the other day? I think it was the DNI director. Um, what's her name? Shit, I don't even remember. But help me out. The
Tulsi
DNI
Gabbard.
director, guys. Gabbert, Tulsi, yeah. Tulsi. I don't know how I forget her name. Tulsi came out and said, yeah, that, you know, that the MK Ultra program is still in effect. You
She
know,
did. I didn't
she,
know that.
yeah, I know, yeah, she came out and said that in a news conference that MK Ultra
Oh
was still in
wow.
effect. You know, from
Well,
the
it
Biden
is. It's running
administration.
strong.
They she blamed the Biden administration. I believe is more than just the Biden administration.
Yeah.
And like I said, I see some strange things. You know, to me, you know, like I say, may not be, but I see some strange things going on right now within the Trump administration. And I'm not saying it's Trump, but he's a little different. You know, he like I say, he may be negotiation. He may have his hands tied because he got all this stuff that he wants to do great for America, and the cabal is holding on to him not to let it happen. So there may be some fight, there may be some struggle there. I agree with that 100%. But we thank you for coming, and you are welcome
Thank you.
anytime back in the
Thank you.
Lions Den, back on the Radical Republicans live show. And we appreciate you. Thank you for spending the last 2 hours with us. We appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Okay. You take care and
Thank
keep
you.
fighting those demons and keep fighting the cabal.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Take care. Okay. Bye bye. Ooh, there you go. I told you we have some interesting guests on the show, right? We have some interesting guests on the show. And did you guys hear the music at the beginning? Because I'm still having problems, man, with this new computer. I don't know if it shut down or whatever, but I don't know. So at the beginning, did you hear Shaft? I just want to know. I just want to. Can you guys hear this? Here, let me show. Let me see something because Like, can you guys hear that? Thumbs up if you can, thumbs down if you cannot, because I hear it in my ear, and I know it's going through the system, but I don't know. So I'm gonna play it in my ear because I can hear it. So I just want to thank you all for coming in and tuning in back to the Radical Republicans live show. Thank you to Laura Worley for tuning in. And every time I think I need a vacation, I got to take a break, I have a guest on that gives me hope and inspiration again. And all of you also that keep tuning in to the show here every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I thank you. I love you all for tuning in. So you can hear the music, Carolyn? Is it clear or is it scratchy? Is it like, is it? I just want to know if it's clear. So thank you, Carolyn, Jackie, Susan, Nicole. Thank you for coming in. And I saw, where is it? Always Right was in here, right? Always Right was in here. In the Louis Harper. Hey, brother, I appreciate you for tuning in as well. Always Right 2020 came in the house tonight. I appreciate you. We're talking about over there in the GETTR land too. I see you. We got, oh, cool. All right, cool. Got K9 Girl over there too. We got my brother's keepers always here. Love you, brother. Appreciate it. Lady. And who else? TBB didn't make it in tonight. Okay, so we're a little like we still had 898 people over there, but they're just sitting back watching the show, but we appreciate you. So, if it's God's will, we'll be back next Sunday. I don't know what we're going to do next Sunday yet. What I'm talking about, sure. I don't know what we're going to do next Sunday night, and but we'll be here. We'll be here 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless I'm playing with my grandson. I got a new grandson. I might play with him. But I hope y'all have a safe week, a great week. Something big is coming up. Something big is coming up. I didn't get a chance to cover the church shooting in Michigan. I did mention that a little bit. It was a latter LDS church. I have a lot of LDS friends out here, and I hope that wasn't any of their families' church back there in Michigan. I know a friend of mine have family back there at the LDS church in Michigan, so I'm going to have to check on them. But the shooter was a crazy leftist, as always, seems like, or either the MKUltra, like we talked about tonight, or it was definitely the CIA three-letter agencies. But we're going to check out tonight. Love y'all. Peace. See you next week. Bye-bye.